I've always known that I've had high cholesterol, at least since I was just out of college. Familial hypercholesterolemia runs in my natural family. I met my natural half-brother when I was 42. He said, I'm the oldest living male on the paternal side of the family.
It was scary because I think my youngest was 8, my oldest was 11, Steve was 42. Well, after his bypass surgery, they told us that everything was perfect. He'd have at least another 30 years. His cholesterol was under control. We were very surprised when something happened to Steve related to his heart.
On August 28th, it was a Monday morning, woke up. We'd been working really hard all weekend on a kitchen remodel, tearing it out, a lot of dust. Decided to go for a 5K jog. Made it almost 2 miles in, started to realize I really wasn't feeling very well. Couldn't breathe very well, I was coughing a lot. Said, I better walk. I continued on, and that's the last I remember.
I was doing some yard work. Steve jogged by. I remember waving to him and looking down the street probably 2 minutes later and seeing him laying in the middle of the street, and a young lady was standing over him with the cell phone. At first I thought she was taking pictures, and a minute later I realized something had gone wrong. When I ran over and saw him laying on the ground in the middle of the street, his knee was all bloody from where he had gone down. Steve was taking large gasping breaths, and when I reached down to feel his hand, he felt cold. When I actually felt for a pulse, I couldn't feel one. We jumped in and did CPR in 5 or 6 minutes before the paramedics got there.
Well, I was at work and I could feel my phone vibrating in my pocket, but I was busy. And then I had a friend who was texting me, so my phone was like going off constantly.
Hello, Mrs. Revere. This is Sedgwick County EMS. We are out with Steven, and he has suffered a medical emergency.
Even though I'd worked in the hospital for 30 years, I didn't think I could find my way down to the ER because I was so upset. I was just thinking, take one step in front of the other and don't think about the next 5 minutes. When we got there, he was intubated. He was already packed on ice. One of the staff asked me almost immediately after I arrived if my husband was an organ donor. And then you think, well, is that why he's packed on ice? When I first saw Steve in the hospital, it was, of course, all chaos. Everything was a fog. I didn't know what happened. Gradually, the story came out. Steve had apparently suffered a cardiac arrest while running. He didn't have a viable heart rhythm. They couldn't detect a pulse on him at all, so one bystander started CPR and the other called EMS. They had to defibrillate him 4 times to get his heart to have a viable rhythm, but they didn't give up. They kept at it. They got him to a hospital with a level 1 trauma center. They put him on hypothermia protocol. They got him stabilized very, very rapidly. I felt like Steve was gonna live, but I didn't know what type of brain damage he would have because I knew he was without oxygen for probably at least 10 minutes.
I have intermittent memories of actually waking up. I knew I was in the hospital. I didn't know why I was in the hospital. I didn't know what day it was. And I know Marilyn was there because she was talking to me. I just remember being confused, not knowing what happened, and missing a tooth that somehow in the process got knocked out.
And then he was so excited to see his brother there. He was hugging his brother saying, I love you, man. And he was so happy. And then the very next day when his brother came to visit, he had forgotten. He was like, I can't believe you came to visit me again. I love you, man. And I was thinking, is this my life? Is this what it's gonna be every single day? I'm gonna have to explain everything to him, reintroduce him to everything. But I thought, that's okay. It will be what it will be. But then every day he got better and better and remembered more and more.
When we had our first daughter, we signed up for CPR classes. I had previously taken CPR classes in high school. I don't know if there's any way really to prepare for it until it happens, but at the same time, that is why I knew to do what I did.
I was so relieved to be able to actually meet Amanda and Cooper and speak with them and meet their families. We've gone to some events together. We did the Heart Walk. If I could say one word to Amanda and Cooper, it'd be thanks. I mean, there's no way I can repay you for your actions. To know how to do hands-only CPR and have the courage to put that knowledge into action and save somebody's life is something that all I can say is thanks, and I hope everybody out there, takes the time to learn hands-only CPR and has the courage to put it to use if a situation presents itself.
Cooper and Amanda, who perform CPR, are extraordinary people, but any ordinary person could have done what they did. The amazing thing about Steve's survival is about 90% of people who suffer cardiac arrest out of the hospital die. CPR, especially if performed immediately, can double or triple a cardiac arrest victim's chance of survival.
I'm very, very glad that I did take the classes. I feel more prepared if anything were to happen again. You just need to start CPR immediately and continue doing it until paramedics get there. You never know when it will truly save someone's life.
Gifts to the American Heart Association are important because it saved my life. It allows me to see my kids, my wife, my family, my coworkers. Please give money to the American Heart Association. If money had not been provided to provide training, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
Steve and I are so grateful to the American Heart Association. We would love if you would give a gift because they've done so much for our family, for our friends, for our community, and we want the gift to keep on giving.